already. I don't owe nothing. He got all his songs already. How you think he got so hot? Came out with all them tapes. I did that. I put them hooks together. I made incredible music. All he did was rhyme 16s.
Well, you know,
I made incredible. I made the hooks. I made the melodies.
Yeah.
I made the shit, dog.
Max B and Jim Jones once shared an unbreakable, fraternal bond. However, that alliance shattered the moment Jim chose to sever their connection. This shift instantly transformed Max, who had been his reliable musical partner, into a devastating adversary Jim hadn't anticipated. Whispers began to circulate. It was rumored that Max had deliberately moved against his former associate, purportedly taking his girlfriend, damaging his car, and instigating widespread turmoil in Harlem, all as a calculated show of dominance. Max's actions were clearly strategic, and the streets felt the profound impact of this escalating tension. Charles Wingate, better known as Max B, emerged from the challenging, yet aspiration-filled environment of Harlem, New York. His narrative began in the Abraham Lincoln housing projects, where survival wasn't optional, but essential. As a youth, Charlie discovered his voice in the boy choir of Harlem. This experience planted the seeds of his signature sound, a voice rich with genuine emotion, gritty reality, and unmistakable soul. Yet, music couldn't fully insulate him from his environment. By age 18, Max made pivotal, and often difficult, decisions that charted the course of his life. In 1997, Max B faced a serious setback when he was implicated in a robbery case, leading to a nearly 8-year incarceration. This period, however, didn't break him, it refined him. When he was released in 2005, he was a different man, equipped with a renewed perspective, a new persona, and an unwavering self-assurance born from lived experience. The world was then introduced to Max Bigavelli, a moniker he forged by merging the names of legendary figures, Biggie Smalls, Machiavelli, Tupac, and Jay-Z. Max saw himself as the perfect synthesis. Biggie's smoothness, Tupac's fervor, Jay-Z's undeniable confidence, combined with his own street wisdom. His sound was more than just songs. It was a distinctive lifestyle and a cultural phenomenon. Upon Max's return to Harlem, the city's music scene was vibrant, largely controlled by the Diplomats, with Cameron and Jim Jones dictating the street and sonic landscape. Max re-established contact with Cameron, and through this connection, he was first introduced to Jim Jones.
Enough to get my room so I could ram his shit up, ram it up his ass. Right? My window was there. He tried to grab me. So when he came in the window, I punched him in the face.
Max B quickly secured a deal with Jim Jones's emerging imprint, Bird Gang, where he immediately began collaborating with the renowned Harlem producer, Dame Grease. Their creative synergy was instant and powerful, fueling a dynamic partnership. The year 2006 marked a pivotal moment when Max unveiled his debut mixtape, $1 Million Baby. The reaction was nothing short of explosive, generating intense buzz throughout the streets. Listeners were captivated by his distinctive voice, uncompromising persona, and raw, unfiltered lyrical delivery. It felt like a sudden, undeniable force in music. With the addition of another rising talent, Stack Bundles, to the Bird Gang roster, Jim Jones found himself in possession of an exceptionally strong lineup. Max rapidly transformed into the essential, driving force behind Jim's major tracks. He delivered hooks and verses that injected unparalleled heat and street credibility into every record. Songs like Baby Girl became widespread street anthems. Virtually every musical endeavor Max touched achieved success. Gina divulged crucial details, and the temptation for a lucrative, swift score began to solidify. According to her testimony, Max discussed a quick action that could financially secure everyone involved. She claimed he suggested an easy way to achieve a significant gain, an opportunity that seemed simple but ultimately led to catastrophic consequences. The specifics of that night remain contested, but the outcome was profoundly negative. Although Max himself was not present when the situation deteriorated, prosecutors later argued that he was the mastermind who initiated the entire plot. Gina, who was working in clubs and doing side jobs at the time, testified that Max directed her and his stepbrother, Kelvin Killer Sims, to confront Plowden at a New Jersey hotel. The supposed objective was straightforward: wait until Plowden left for the evening, then discreetly enter his room and seize whatever cash was available. However, from the outset, the execution was chaotic and unprofessional. Reports indicated that Gina and Sims spent hours lost, missing their intended exits, and wasting precious time. By the time they finally reached the hotel, Plowden had already returned. Worse, he was not alone. An unexpected individual, David Taylor, was also in the room.
So Jim Jones, compare the names. Look, Max Biggervale, Jim Jones. That don't even add up. That's not on my level, man.
The first part of the operation to fall apart was Gina Conway. Upon her capture, she quickly changed her narrative to secure a deal for herself. She provided a substantial 169-page statement to authorities, detailing the entire scheme and placing the planning directly onto Max B. She alleged that Max had initiated the plot and had promised her financial reward, unwavering loyalty, and a lifelong commitment in exchange for her assistance. When authorities moved to apprehend Max, the charges were severe and life-altering, resulting in a staggering $2 million bail. As Max remained confined, the outside world moved rapidly. While Jim enjoyed immense financial success, giving interviews and earning substantial income, Max was stuck battling for his freedom and his reputation. After a grueling 10 months, Max's bail was finally reduced to $90,000, offering a glimmer of hope for his release. When it came time for help, Jim's actions seemed driven by leverage, not loyalty. Reports suggest Jim used the bail money as a bargaining chip. He agreed to finance Max's release, but only under the condition that Max signed over all of his publishing rights and committed to delivering 6 albums under Jim's control. Trapped in jail with severely limited options and desperate for his freedom, Max felt he had no alternative. He signed the agreement, effectively handing Jim complete ownership of the wavy sound and style he had cultivated. In July 2007, Max B walked out of custody a free man, but profoundly changed. He was emotionally hardened, more astute, and deeply resentful. He returned to the streets penniless, betrayed, and shackled by a contract that forfeited his future earning potential. Concurrently, Jim Jones, his former friend, was flourishing, capitalizing directly on the cultural movement Max had created. As Max took stock, the streets continued to champion his name via mixtapes and DVDs. The term wavy transcended a mere catchphrase. It became a cultural identity. The more the public embraced it, the more Max realized he could not remain silent. If Jim refused to acknowledge his due, Max resolved to reclaim his shine himself. The betrayal was profound, extending far beyond a simple business dispute and becoming deeply personal.
Your name is Max B, aka Max Biggervale. We know Biggervale stands for Big Jig and Pac, right? But where did the name...
Big Machiavelli, baby.
Yeah.
Big Jig and Machiavelli.
Max B felt utterly manipulated. The contract he signed meant Jim Jones now legally controlled every creative element, every hook, melody, and memorable line that made his record successful. While Jim profited, Max felt his entire musical identity had been stolen. Driven by this profound sense of betrayal, Max decided to sever ties with Bird Gang and adopt a confrontational stance. His sole objective was clear. If Jim wouldn't acknowledge his true contributions, Max would publicly expose their conflict, holding nothing back. It didn't take long for Max to find a powerful ally in French Montana. At the time, French was a Bronx-based underground figure known for his Raw Cocaine City DVD series, which amplified street voices. French already harbored resentment toward Jim, fueled by past rumors of Jim disrespecting him. The connection between Max and French was therefore more than just a business partnership. It was a personal vendetta. Together, they birthed the Coke Wave movement, which quickly transformed into a dynamic takeover of the mixtape circuit. Their synergy was undeniable, their self-assurance unmatched, and their influence spread rapidly through the streets. Max understood that the traditional music industry wasn't his savior. He lacked major label backing, publishing rights, and an industry co-sign. However, he possessed something stronger: a voice the streets revered, an inimitable wavy style, and the natural talent to convert pain into captivating music. Feeling cornered, Max leveraged the underground by releasing his music for free. These tracks weren't just songs. They were direct, lyrical assaults aimed squarely at Jim Jones and his crew. Max's refusal to remain silent caused a visible shift in the cultural landscape. The feud intensified when Max dropped the highly provocative track "She Touched It in Miami," in which he made sensational and reckless claims about Jim Jones's longtime girlfriend, Chrissy Lampkin. He used laughter and bold lyrics to turn the situation into massive street gossip, shaking Harlem to its core and making the public humiliation a form of entertainment. The tension culminated in November 2008 when Max and French directly confronted Jim at his Manhattan studio building. Max later alleged that Jim called the police, intensifying the dispute. Shortly after, a chaotic encounter at a Brooklyn club involving both camps proved that the personal conflict had officially boiled over. Max B had transformed into a cult icon, an artist who attained legendary status without relying on a major label or industry approval. Despite the restrictive contract that bound him, his music flooded the streets. Simultaneously, a more serious threat loomed: Max's criminal trial. On June 9, 2009, Max B appeared in the Bergen County Courthouse with his characteristic swagger. His legal team expressed confidence, arguing they had successfully dismantled the credibility of the prosecution's key witness, Gina Conway, who had testified against Max and his stepbrother, Kelvin "Killer" Sims, in exchange for a lighter sentence. Max's lawyer painted Gina as a vengeful figure who manipulated the truth for self-interest. In a confusing twist, Gina even testified that Max was unaware of the plan, claiming she used his name only to persuade Kelvin. The story of Max B and Jim Jones, a saga of loyalty broken by the pursuit of money, and a legacy forged in spite of betrayal, is still being written. The world is watching to see what happens when the architect of the wave finally returns home. Thank you for diving deep into this legendary hip-hop rivalry. Max B's journey is a powerful reminder that true talent can't be contained. If you found this analysis insightful and want to stay updated on what happens next in the Wavy saga, be sure to like this story, share it with fellow hip-hop heads, and subscribe for more in-depth content. We cover the stories that shape the culture. Don't miss a beat.